Hi guys, what's up? Lauren here, and today I'm very happy to announce that I have a 10.2 Restoration Shaman Mythic Plus guide for Season 3 of Dragonflight. I'm gonna go over everything from healing to DPSing, as well as using your cooldowns efficiently and high healing demanding scenarios in Mythic Plus. So I hope you enjoy. I'll be going over stats, talents, cooldowns, gameplay and rotation, and general Weakauras and add-ons that I would recommend you play with. When it comes to our stats, obviously you'll want to prioritize intellect first, followed by crit, verse, then haste, and then mastery. Crit is always going to be a solid pick for us, as it is good for both damage and healing output, as well as it helps you with mana management. And this is because of a talent located in the up part of our spec tree, which is called Resurgence, and it helps with mana recovery. So, like I said, crit is just good to almost guarantee that your DPS and healing abilities crit, which then helps with healing and then mana management. Versatility provides survivability, and this is because versatility gives you a damage reduction component, and it is also a small boost to your DPS and healing output. When it comes to haste, haste just reduces casting time and it lowers the global cooldown, and overall just smooths out your rotation. And usually I'm not a fan of recommending a certain haste threshold in Mythic Plus. It all comes down to the amount that you prefer to have in Mythic Plus, and if you feel like your gameplay is smooth enough and you have enough of a fast response when it comes to emergency healing. And last but not least, we have Mastery. Mastery is going to be our worst stat in Mythic Plus. It is a purely healing throughput stat, and the way Mastery works for Restoration Shaman, it is not realistically something that's going to happen in Mythic Plus, because you will heal targets more the more health they're missing, and that's something that's not going to happen a lot in Mythic Plus. Therefore, Mastery is something that you should avoid in Mythic Plus when it comes to stat priority. In regards to our talent tree, this is what your class tree will be looking like for the most part. You will have optional class talents such as Elemental Warding, Swirling Currents, Surging Shields, Totemic Recall, and Nature's Fury. This being said, Nature's Fury is one of the talents that you don't want to skip, as then again, Critical Strike benefits you a lot both in healing output and damage output, so it is a talent that you may need to swap out if you need utility points such as Poison Cleansing Totem, Stone Skin Totem, Hex, Purge, Tremor, etc. Other talents that are flexible are Elemental Warding, Surging Shields, and Swirling Currents. Surging Shields is good and gains an advantage if you have very good uptime on Earth Shield, and you will see a lot of HPS increase coming from Earth Shield. You also have Swirling Currents, which is also optional but good by default because it increases your healing done by Cloudburst or Healing Stream Totem. That being said, because you are playing Cloudburst for the most part in Mythic Plus, in a 5-man environment, Cloudburst will be overhealing a bit, so Swirling Currents, like I said, very good by default, but can also be optional. In regards to Elemental Warding, it is also optional, but I highly recommend it in high keys, as it just makes you a lot tankier and have more survivability, because a lot of the damage present in keys is nature damage, aka magic damage. I also highlighted Totemic Recall, although I think you should be playing it all the time. I know some people don't like it and have a lot of questions on how to use it. The way Totemic Recall works is it resets the cooldown on any totem that has a base cooldown less of 3 minutes. So it can reset Poison Cleansing Totem, Cap Totem, Earth Crab Totem, Tremor Totem, Healing Stream Totem, Cloudburst, etc. And this is what Totemic Recall is gonna be mostly used for, resetting Cloudburst Totem. This allows you to have a lot more healing throughput in high demanding healing boss fights, and in trash bags, as you just have an extra Cloudburst / Healing Stream charge, and it allows you to have a lot more AoE healing output in that same scenario. This is the spec side of the tree that you can expect to see most people play with this season. Talents that promote chain healing such as Ancestral Reach, Tidebringer and High Tide will be the go-to in these builds. As of the 16th of December, we saw Restoration Shaman buffs mainly to Torrent, Cloudburst Totem, and Healing Surge. Cloudburst Totem will still be the best choice in high-hand Mythic Plus and rating. It will be less punishing if you decide to play with Healing Stream Totem, although I am a very strong believer that you should be playing with Cloudburst from the start, as it is gonna be the best option in the long run. But like I said, you will be less punished if you decide to play with Healing Stream Totem after the buffs. In regards to Torrent is something that you do not play in Mythic Plus, and it honestly doesn't benefit you a lot. Riptide healing is already pretty high, so I think you're gonna gain a lot of overhealing if you play with Torrent. Also, you don't have really enough talent points to go into that talent in the first place, but the Healing Surge buff is quite nice. In regards to our talents, you want to be talenting into damage talents in Mythic Plus, such as Stormkeeper, Acid Rain, and then with this build, you have an option of either Lava Surge and Moat. You can also spec out of 1 point into Vigor and then take both, although I'll also go over briefly why that is not probably the best option in high keys. In my opinion, the Primordial Wave Capstone is optional, although personally I recommend it because, like I said, having a 30-second cooldown, a lot beefier of a cooldown, feels much better than a 45-second weaker one. A lot of people prefer playing the Mana Tide Totem and Spearwalker's Tide Totem talents instead of the Primordial Wave Capstone, and that is fine. I think in Tyrannical that might be a play. In Fortified, I don't feel like that's enough of a reason to spec out of continuous saves, and even in Tyrannical I still feel fine by taking the Capstone in Primordial Wave, as it is a very good AoE efficient both in healing and in mana, and it benefits you a lot. Like I said, you wanna be taking Vigor. It is very recommended and if not mandatory in high keys, as it allows you to survive a lot of one-shots in Mythic Plus, and you can go 1 point into Vigor in low to semi-high keys and just take Surge and Moat. Moat is also a very good talent, both for healing and damage, mostly for damage in Mythic Plus. Although with this build, you are kinda limited in talent points, so having 2 points in Vigor is mandatory in high keys. Also, Moat, although being a good talent, is optional, like I said, because it makes your rotation very clunky in AoE. In AoE, you want to be mostly pressing Healing Rain and Chain Lightning, and weaving Lava Burst in the middle of that can be very clunky, so Moat is optional. Good generally, but like I said, optional. When it comes to our cooldowns, I feel like we're a spec capable of healing and handling a lot of these high healing demanding scenarios in Mythic Plus, and this is mainly due to our cooldowns. Firstly, we have Ascendance. Ascendance is gonna be our best and most potent healing cooldown, and it is best paired with Cloudburst Totem, since all of the healing generated with Ascendance and the healing that you do is gonna be contributing to Cloudburst healing, so you have all of a sudden 2 very good high healing output cooldowns. Followed by Spirit Link Totem. Spirit Link is a very good cooldown to stabilize the group in a very clutch moment, or also in mechanics where your group is stacked. It is very good to keep everyone's health at bay. Then we have Ancestral Guidance. Guidance is as strong as Ascendance, very, very potent, which should be paired with other healing spells, and Same thing with Ascendance, you want to be pairing Guidance with Cloudburst Totem. Healing Tide Totem will be our weakest healing cooldown. It is mostly press and forget, and it does AoE healing to you and the group. So yeah, Ascendance and Guidance will be our most potent healing cooldowns, and they are very capable of healing and handling a lot of these high damaging scenarios in Mythic Plus. They should not be paired together, as a lot of these scenarios require you to have split cooldowns so you can handle them both. These two talents paired are very overkill. There might be scenarios where you actually need to pair them, but these are very niche and I do not recommend you pairing them together. Another cooldown, both for AoE and single target, that seems to be highly underestimated, is the combo of both Cloudburst Totem and Primordial Wave, especially if you play around Undulation well. This is something that I'm gonna go over in the video with examples, and it is something that you should be playing around with. And now we're gonna be discussing rotation and overall gameplay. Firstly, I'm gonna go over our damage rotation, and then secondly, I'm gonna be talking about our healing rotation. So in regards to dealing damage in single target, your primary focus will be keeping Flame Shock up, followed by Healing Rain for Acid Rain uptime on cooldown. You want to press Lava Burst on cooldown, and then you want to have it available whenever you have a Lava Surge proc, and then you cast Lava Burst again. And then in the downtime, you will be wanting to cast Lightning Bolt until you get Healing Rain off of cooldown, as well as Lava Burst. In AoE, your primary goal is to keep Acid Rain uptime as much as you can, as well as spam Chain Lightning. In 2 to 4, 5 targets, you want to keep Flame Shocks up so you can get Lava Surge procs. In a lot of big packs, when you have +8, +10 targets, in that scenario, you only press 2 buttons, and those are Healing Rain and Chain Lightning. If you play with Moat, which is Master of the Elements, both in single target and in AoE, your primary enhanced ability with Moat will want to be Acid Rain. Secondly, Chain Lightning in AoE, and in single target, it's gonna be Acid Rain, same thing again, and Lightning Bolt in single target. When it comes to our healing rotation, firstly, I'm gonna go over on how you should handle single target healing scenarios, as well as AoE healing scenarios. When it comes to single target healing, assuming that the person is injured but does not require emergency healing, you will want to press Riptide, and this is to get Tidal Waves. Tidal Waves benefits both the critical effect chance on Healing Surge by 30%, and or reduces the cast time on Healing Wave and Chain Heal by 20%. And you will want a Tidal Waves buff to buff your next Healing Surge, because it will guarantee, well, not guarantee, but almost guarantee that Healing Surge crits, and that is mostly a very, very big single target heal on that same person. In a second scenario where you have single target healing to be done, and it is an emergency single target healing, ideally you would want to have Cloudburst already placed down. You will want to Riptide the same person again, so you get Tidal Waves buff, and then you could Healing Surge for the crit bonus from Tidal Waves, or you can Primordial Wave into Nature Swiftness and then press Healing Wave, which is gonna top them up in pretty much a global through the healing duplicated with Primordial Wave and Healing Wave, and then you can recall Cloudburst manually if need be for more single target healing. When it comes to our AoE healing scenarios, assuming that you have multiple injured targets, you will want to have Cloudburst ideally already placed down. You will want to have Riptide applied on everyone, and pretty much you want to have Riptide on cooldown in a Mythic Plus environment. And you can achieve AoE healing through two scenarios mostly, which is Primordial Wave Cleaves, and this is done by having Riptide applied on people, and then you would Primordial Wave someone, and then you would press Healing Wave, and all of that Healing Wave healing is going to be replicated on all targets affected by Riptide. Or you can press Chain Heal, mainly and during High Tide procs. And this is so it makes Chain Heal heal a lot more through High Tide buffs, and so you don't spend mana outside of High Tide procs, since Chain Heal regardless will still cost the same mana amount, but will be less of a AoE efficient heal. And then you would recall Cloudburst manually if need be for more AoE output. You can also do all of this that I just stated, and you can pair that with a cooldown such as Ascendance and or Ancestral Guidance. I do not recommend that you pair these two cooldowns together, as they will be very overkill, and there are a lot of healing scenarios where you ought to have your cooldowns split. So pairing these together will be very bad and something that I would not recommend. I also want to go over something very important that I know a lot of shamans do not play around, and also I understand because it is not very intuitive the way you have to trigger this combo. And this is the Primordial Wave Undulation combo. What you want to be doing is, normally, as you do with Primordial Wave, you want to have Riptides on cooldown spread in your group, but the way that you benefit with Undulation, which is the talent that you take in the Spec side of the tree, which increases the third healing wave healing or healing surge healing done by 50%. And what you can do with this talent within a Primordial Wave Healing Wave Cleave is, if you are at 2 to 3 stacks of those same casts, you can send Primordial Wave, and then you would Healing Wave, and then all of that Healing Wave duplicated will be benefiting from Undulation. When it comes to Restoration Shaman's strengths and weaknesses, I am very confident in saying that the strengths outweigh the weaknesses. Shaman has very high healing throughput currently as it stands in Season 3. We have one of the best and most diverse Mythic Plus toolkits, and this is because we have a very short ranged kick. We have also a very low cooldown AoE stop, which is Thundershock. We have Cap Totem every 40 seconds. We have Purge. We have Decurs. We have Bloodlust. We have a Poison Dispel, if you tell it into it, which you should in some keys. We have very high DPS output, and this is also being highlighted by the recent buffs that we just received. Like I said, we have a short ranged kick, which is very good because there are a lot of kicks to handle this season, and we have overall very good survivability because as a Restoration Shaman, you stack versatility naturally, and Astral Shift is a very beefy defensive, and you also have access to Earth Alley. When it comes to weaknesses, Shaman still remains to be the only healer spec without a proper external, such as Blessing of Sacrifice from Holy Paladins, TD from Preservation Evokers, Iron Bark from Restoration Druids, Guardian Angel from Holy Priests, Cocoon from Mistweavers, and then you have Shaman, which has Earth Shield, which is permanent 6% DR, but it's not the same thing. It definitely is not on the same level as a Sec. And it definitely feels bad, because all you have available is Spirit Link, and Spirit Link in a lot of scenarios actually tends to kill the group if you're willing to try to save someone, and that definitely does not feel good. To not being able to provide a tank with an external that literally every healer across the board can do. Shaman's mana is not in its best iteration at the moment. In very prolonged, long-lasting tyrannical fights, Shaman struggles with mana, and this is something that we can't really counteract with our talents, because Resurgence got heavily nerfed. Mana Tide Totem is not a very good mana recovery tool, and Mana Spring is also a very bad mana recovery tool. So when it comes to comparing to other healers such as Mistweaver with Mana Tea, or Discipline Priest and their mana recovery tools with Mindbender, it is definitely not on the same level. Not to say that you cannot heal the highest keys with Shaman, because you definitely can, but mana will be what's stopping you to heal the same level of keys at some point. And that's something that you just have to play around with. And another weakness, which can definitely be counteracted as well, but Shaman is a bit slow to responding to emergency single target healing. When someone drops instantly to 10% and then there's another damage event followed by that, you don't have like a Lay on Hands, an emergency cocoon, so all you have to do is actually just prio that same person with a Riptide or a instantly healing surge or primordial wave into Nature's Swiftness into healing wave, and then hope that you actually have enough time to save that person. When it comes to Weakauras and add-ons, I play with a bunch of them, as I feel like as a healer in Mythic Plus, it is very important to keep track of people's defensives and stops and health potions, etc. So for all of that mainly, that is handled by OmniCD, which you can see in the picture down below. Below my party frames, you can see the defenses that I have available from people. So mainly from the Red Paladin, we have Bubble, Lay on Hands, and both of his shields, as well as his Racial, which is Stoneform from Dwarf. You have the Warrior with access to Enraged, Regeneration, and Spell Reflect, and the Evoker as well with his defensives. I also have highlighted onto the left of my class Weakauras very important AoE defensives such as Zephyr, Scales, Rallying Cry, Darkness, and then I have specific ones like Sack, Pop, and Cauterize that are also very important and that I should keep track of. Also, I recommend a healing add-on. In this case, I'm healing with LVY frames, or you can also play with other add-ons such as Grid 2, Voodoo, etc. And then I also recommend Click, as Click is very good for mouse over healing and just overall mouse overing spells and etc. I also recommend you to play with class Weakauras. These are mine and I have customized them across the years, and it is something that definitely helps me understand the spec better. So having someone's class Weakauras is definitely something that I recommend, and keeping track of your own CDs, spells, and buffs at time is something that you should also be very, very attentive of. And yeah, that's gonna be it for the 10.2 Restoration Shaman Mythic Plus guide for Season 3 of Dragonflight. I hope you guys thoroughly enjoyed the guide as much as I did making it, and I also want to send props to Thune, the Restoration Shaman content creator, as well as the Wowhead, guide writer for Restoration Shaman, for helping me making this video. If you have any questions, do feel free to ask in the comment section down below. And you can also join the Restoration Shaman class Discord, which is Ancestral Guidance, and I'll leave the link in the description box down below. And yeah, thank you for watching. Don't forget to follow me on Twitch and on Twitter, and I'll see you on the next one.